Hello, hello, hello. This is the Muzilog Magazine podcast. I'm Samuel Archer, your host, and we have a special guest in the building today. He goes by the name Mr. Jon Fadem, and we would like to welcome him to the show. How are you doing today, John?
Doing great. How are you, Sam?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just happy to have you on here, and let's chop it up about what's happening in your life, about the
Okay.
music, and all the great things you're doing over there.
Thank you.
All right, all right. So you just dropped some music, and it's called Thankful. We want to know everything about the record, the conception. Did you dreaming up, was it a dream one night you had and you said, I'm going to do a record called Thankful. How did this thing come about?
So actually, it was quite a number of years in gestation as far as getting
Mm.
the concept of the album together. I've been playing for a long time in a lot of different bands, but primarily a lot of cover bands.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, but I have my own original music, and so it was basically um, it was actually, I guess it started because COVID, because I had all this time,
Oh, yeah.
um,
Okay.
you know. So I went through all of the little pieces of music that I had recorded
Mm-hmm,
on my phones, right? Because musicians that you're playing or you're doing something and you have an idea, and a lot, you have a phone, you just record a little voice memo, you put the guitar, whatever. So I
mm-hmm,
had a lot
mm-hmm.
of kind of short bits. And so we had a lot of time during the beginning of COVID. So I went through like my last three phones and listened to all the little pieces of music that I had recorded,
Wow.
which is
Wow.
something you kind of plan on doing, but you never actually get around to doing it. So
Yeah,
we finally
yeah.
had time to do it. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let's see what's on here. And I found a couple things that I really liked and kind of, you know, basically made them into actual songs. And then I kind of was putting them all together, and I thought, I was looking at them, and I thought, well, conceptually, I think I could do a whole album of just instrumental
Mm-hmm,
original
mm-hmm.
tunes, and so then I kind of beefed it up. I had some older songs from other original tunes, but from past years that I had written, and so I figured, I picked the best ones of those, so I put those songs together with a bunch of the new ones, and
Mm-hmm,
and then I
mm-hmm.
just kind of realized that it worked as a whole. It was kind of like a
Mm.
musical history, kind of my life, because some of the songs are really old. One of the songs is on the album. It's 13 songs on the album. They're
Mm-hmm.
all instrumental, and one of them goes back to like my band in high school. We used to play it. It's really old because I'm old, so it's
Wow,
really old.
wow,
Then there's
okay.
another one that's from like the late '90s from a band I had, and then there's other ones that are from like 2005 or whatever, and then some of them are brand new that are relatively
Okay.
new. So it was basically putting them all together and saying, this works as a whole, as a whole piece,
As a
basically.
P, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, as an album. So it spans a long time,
Mm-hmm,
but I
mm-hmm.
spent about 2 years of the actual, recording of it and doing it, putting it together.
Wow, wow. I mean, yes, we did have a lot of time on our hands during COVID. I call it the Great Reset. A lot of
Right.
us,
Yeah.
a lot of us to do reset a lot of things.
Sure.
Um, so interestingly enough, so the term thankful, were you
Yeah.
thankful that you were able to get back to the different pieces that you created over time and put it into this masterful work? So the title, talk to us about the
Yes,
title.
yes, yes. So the title came from the title song. There's a song called "Thankful" that's on the album,
Okay, okay,
and I
okay.
wrote that. We had a really good Thanksgiving with my father came out to my family's home, and had Thanksgiving with us, and
Hmm.
we just had a great time. Just a great time with him, and I think it was that night after he left. I just sat down and wrote the song, and it was real. And it was
Oh,
real. It was happy. It was real. Like I was thankful that I was able to spend time with my dad and have him spend time with my wife and my son. And it was just, it was I was really feeling really thankful for the family in my life. So that's where the name of
Mm.
the individual track came from. And then when I was kind of, so when I put the whole thing together, and I was like, well, what is the name of the album? And it's thankful because I'm very thankful, to have been
Mm.
able to do it, right? To
Yes,
make
yes.
this record and to be given, the gifts or whatever, to create something like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much where the that's how it became the album title, is because I'm very thankful to have been able to make it.
Yeah, I like your journey. Being a musician myself, I have done the same, like some similar things. It's just that I've never gotten back to those pieces. It's
Right,
like
right.
it's like you do it, hey, let me record this, and then you do it, and sometimes it might be like years later. I'm like, what's
Yeah,
this? And then you listen, like, oh my God, it's. So I'm happy you had a chance to actually go back in and extract some of the ideas that might you might need to do a documentary on that, just to sort of document what was happening during COVID, and then how you were able to pull out these pieces and expound on them and so on.
sure.
But plus there's a lot of tracks I've done, I sequence a lot of music, and they're on cassettes, they're on floppy disks,
Oh,
and
sure,
and
sure.
somewhere in my head I think I'm gonna get back to them, and I don't even know when that's gonna happen. So so
Yeah,
so so
yeah.
you know, but
I went through some
go,
cassettes
go
too,
ahead, go ahead, go
actually.
ahead. Oh,
No,
you
I
had.
was just saying I had cassettes as
Oh
well, but
my
I
God! All
went
right,
through
from
some of
from
those.
the
Yeah,
band, from your from your high school band and so on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally, totally.
Wow!
And I was like,
Wow!
that
Wow!
song that would work, and so I did. I went through cassettes as well because
Hmm.
we were of that generation.
Wow!
So
Well, I saw. You know what? I'm really going to enjoy this record. Now, I did listen
I
to
hope
some of
so.
the clips, but I'm just, sometimes when you understand what's happening behind it, it just has a different interpretation for you, because now you
Sure.
can sort of imagine, wow, this is part of something that was either composed 30, 40 years ago, or I'm not trying to put an age on you, by the way.
It's good. It's good.
Let's
I
go
don't
with
mind.
20. Let's go with 20. Maybe 20 years ago.
Sure, sure. Let's go with that.
Uh, so talk about some of your influences. Talk about some of your influences.
Sure, sure. So, my favorite musician of all time is definitely Miles Davis.
Mm.
He, for as most of my life, he's been a very big influence on me,
Mm.
just as a player, and also the way that he kind of changed his direction many times
Mm-hmm,
throughout
mm-hmm.
his career, throughout his life, and he was an innovator, and which is amazing. And he also his playing and the fact that he wasn't always technically, the most adept trumpet player, but the
Mm-hmm,
way that
mm-hmm.
he played and the way that he used space,
Mm.
instead of just a million notes, he would just play the right notes, and that the space was just as important, what you don't play is just as important as what you do play, that kind of concept.
Wow.
So
Yeah, yeah.
he's my number one guy. And after him, I love Joni Mitchell. I love Stevie
Mm.
Wonder. Stevie Wonder is one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorites. Um, John Coltrane, Sly and the Family Stone, Bob Dylan. I'm thinking of my music collection and the
That and that's
guys who
that's great. That's
you know,
great. That's
and
great.
the
That's
guys
great.
who I have. Those are my top people for sure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic. I love that stuff too.
Mm. Mm.
David Bowie, I love, but Miles is my number one
Mm.
inspiration for all the time.
So as you said, Miles. I mean, I didn't see Miles coming, but as you said, Miles, and the way you said how he uses space, it just dawned on me. You and Q-Tip might be really good friends if you get a chance to meet him. Have you ever heard of Q-Tip from the Tribe Called Quest, the
I
rapper?
have. I actually, it's funny. I met him at a Sly and the Family Stone concert
Oh, okay,
in
okay.
in New York. I think it was I think it was 1998 or something.
Oh,
It
okay.
was at the BB King's, which was a little club in New York, and I got to meet him. He was real nice. But I'm a huge fan of the Tribe Called Quest, especially the first three,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
four Tribe Called Quest albums are just, especially the first three, are just
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, and they have a way they use space. I mean, Q-Tip, he has this thing how he uses space.
Mhm.
And I think I also saw an interview with um, oh my God, what's his name? Herbie Hancock, and he gives this experience about he's because at one time he played for Miles, and apparently he made some mistake, and while Miles heard him taking the mistake somewhere, and actually did a line on the trumpet to sort of save where things would have gone in them,
Yeah, yeah.
so
It's
so
a great
so
story. It's a
yeah,
great
yeah, yeah.
story.
He's an interesting I'll call him a phenomena, and someone who always reinvented himself. He didn't have a problem reinventing himself at all. He wasn't concerned about the brand. He wasn't concerned about like the traditionally where the industry probably would have wanted to take him. So interesting. I didn't see that. It's a good thing I'm talking with you. Oh wow, Miles Davis. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
I mean, I wouldn't say like, I wouldn't say that maybe if you listen to it, you'd be like, oh, this sounds like Miles Davis. But that
Hmm.
influence is definitely in there. And there's some of it, some places where where it's more obvious than
Hmm. Hmm.
others. But in general, it's more of like a kind of rock,
Hmm. Hmm.
jazz, soul record. It's definitely not straight ahead jazz at all. But it's more, has a lot of influences, a lot of different styles kind of combined.
So
But yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You were
I
saying.
was going to say, but Miles is like my, if you said who's your influence, he's
Yes,
just
yes, yes.
my number one guy, and always will be.
Okay, so I on this record you're pretty much featuring the guitar
Yeah,
on
yeah.
this record.
All the songs have they're all instrumental, and
Hmm.
all of the melodies are just played by guitar.
Okay, okay. But you're a multi instrumentalist.
Sure, sure. So I played guitar, lead guitar, and then there's a bunch of rhythm guitar tracks on most of the
Hmm.
songs.
Hmm.
Then I also played bass, and I also played keyboards. I also played dulcimer and mandolin on a couple of songs.
Hmm.
I played
Hmm.
everything but the drums. So I recorded everything, and then once it was done, I had a session with a good friend of mine named John Kimock, who's a great drummer,
Hmm.
and he's had the songs for a while, and he knew some of them already because he used to play drums in a funk band that I had with him for years.
Hmm. Hmm.
So some of the songs were tunes that we played in that band, so he knew them already, my songs.
Hmm.
And so then we just did all the drums in one day, and percussion. He played the percussion on a couple songs,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
most of it. So I played everything except for the drums and percussion.
Okay, okay. So let me ask you, in terms of the creative process, again, my mind is working here. This is off script. In fact, I don't really do scripts, but we're a little bit off script. Now, when you went back into the pieces that you had in your, maybe you recorded it on a phone, you said some was on cassette. When you heard it, what was the next step from hearing something that you thought you could use? Were you on
It's a,
guitar? Were you on keyboards? Like, what did that look like?
sure. So that's a great question. Like such a
Hmm.
good question. And I would say that actually for each of the songs, kind of it probably arrived a different way. There was really no one
Mm.
uniform method of how it happened,
Mm.
right? Because some of the songs were older. Some of the songs literally, were done and had lyrics and had stuff, and I just, instead of singing them, I played the melody on the guitar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Okay.
some of the
Okay.
song, like there's a song called "Lady Flies Tonight" on there,
Mm-hmm.
which which you know I wrote like 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and 25 years ago now, but I knew it really well from singing it all those years.
Hmm. Hmm.
But then to actually play it, I had to relearn the song, right? So that just to learn how to actually play it, because I'd just been only singing it. I knew all the rhythm guitar parts because I had played those, but I had never
Hmm.
tried to play the
Play
melody,
the melody part, yes.
and so that was like for those older songs, that was the process for that. For some of the songs, it was pretty involved. Like I would there's a song on the record that's called Miles that is actually named after my son. My son is named Miles,
Mm.
and which I named him after Miles Davis. But
I'm catching on.
yeah, right, right. Anyway, so the song that I wrote, right, was written in 2016. It was right after he was born. He was literally 3 days old, I think. And
Mm.
I had a guitar. It was actually some of the guys in my band chipped in. Everybody chipped in and got him a guitar, right? For when he was born.
Mm.
When
Okay.
they put Miles on the strap, what a beautiful baby, a beautiful guitar. And so I was playing for him. He had just born, right?
Hmm.
And he was enjoying it, like he was, reacting to it. And I was super happy, because he's my, first child.
Hmm. Hmm.
I started playing. I was just playing for him, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of an idea." So I
Hmm.
took out the phone, I recorded it, and I had a couple little kind of melodies, that I came up with. So then what I had to do was go back and listen to that recording and basically reverse engineer a whole song out of it, right?
Mm.
Because it was all improvised. I was making it up. I was just playing for him,
Hmm.
but I
Hmm.
was coming up with ideas, right? Which is basically,
Yeah.
that's what you
Yeah.
do in music. You improvise. I love playing guitar solos. Is my favorite thing.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
so basically, what I had to do is take these improvised parts and make them into written parts. Make them into actual
Mm.
things. So I would play a line and then I would repeat that line, but I'd add a harmony to it so
Hmm.
that it
Hmm.
would develop.
It
And
give
then
it.
say, okay,
Yes. Yes.
and then I'd
Yes.
say,
Yes.
okay, well, what section would go good next here? Well, there's
Hmm.
this idea, so let's try that, and then let's play that once or twice, and then let's do two more times, but with a harmony on top of it.
Mm.
And that's literally how I ended up putting the song together. So it was based on an improvisation that I did,
Hmm.
but because it was one of the happiest moments of my life, literally when he was born, the song ended up being the happiest song I ever wrote, right? Just because it has that, it has
It has that
that
energy
feeling,
to it.
right?
Yes.
The
Yes. The
energy, the
feeling. Yeah.
feeling.
Hmm.
And so you listen to it now, and it's like it's literally the happiest thing that I ever wrote.
Wow.
And but it has that feel to it, and it's strictly, it's from that historical thing. So that song was
Mm.
particularly, it was a lot of work to go through and take this improvisation and make it into an actual composition. But that was different, but that was one example of a different methodology.
Well, that's true musicianship right there. You gotta, when you're composing and you're creating and you're a musician, you're gonna go. We gotta go to those layers and get this. I need this part. I need that part. It's important to you, and you bring it together. I like that. I like that. So you see now, I'm gonna listen to the record in a different way.
Sure, sure, sure.
So yeah, man, that's amazing. Now, does okay, so he should be what, close to 8 or 10 now, or
He's 9. Yeah, he's
he's
9. He
he's
just turned
nine.
9. Yeah.
Does he understands his song that's on the record there?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he loves it. He loves his song.
Oh
He's
wow,
like, "That's my song. That's my song."
that's
Like he'll hear
beautiful.
it and he'll be like, "Oh, that's my song."
That's
And it is.
beautiful.
It literally, I wrote it for him,
Yes,
so it's his song. But he's got a good
amazing.
ear too, so he
Okay,
knows music pretty well.
all right, all right.
Yeah,
So, now you talk a little bit about being. You did a lot of covers. And when you look at folks in the industry, and even when I um, look at my journey, I knew people that they did a lot of covers, and today they're still doing covers. And then you have those who, pushing the envelope to get their music out and so on. Was there like a little battle for you to sort of leave one world and get into the other world and say, you know what, I got to put my material out? Was this like a little fight
That's a
internally?
that's a great question. You're obviously a musician because you know what you're talking about, you know.
Yes, yes.
Um, but yes, a little bit, right?
Uh-huh.
So you know, financially, of course, you know,
Mm-hmm.
playing covers is always a very safe bet,
Mm-hmm.
and or safer. It's not necessarily
It's
safe, but
safer, yes.
it's safer, you
Safer,
know.
yes.
So for years, so I went to from college. I went into medical school directly from.
Mm.
I was a neuroscience major, and at school, but I also studied music because I went to a
Mm-hmm.
school called Oberlin in Ohio, and
Okay.
they have a music school and a college. So I did both, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
there was a moment in medical school when I was like, I hated it, and I just wanted to do music, you know. And there was definitely a battle right
Uh-huh.
there, which was like between you know medicine, which is one of the most financially stable, you know,
Mm-hmm.
careers
Mm-hmm.
you could pick, and music, which is like the most inconsistent, insane industry, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
was this, you know, I was like, what do I do?
Wow.
And
Wow.
so that battle was definitely a part of my life. And eventually, I I was starting to get into the Jimi Hendrix Band of Gypsies album. Do you know that
Okay.
Jimi Hendrix?
I'm not a PhD in it, but I'm familiar with some of the music
Sure.
around it. Yeah.
Sure. So the one group that Hendrix had was a group called the Band of Gypsies, which
Mm-hmm.
was him and Buddy Miles played drums and Billy Cox, and it was his most kind of soul and funk influenced music that he made, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to
Mm-hmm.
like the kind of really psychedelic earlier stuff.
Yeah.
And so this was in the final kind of year of his life that he did it. So that music I was listening to a lot of, and there was one night, and I drove home from it was an anatomy exam at medical school, which was just terrible. And I came home and I was driving home, and it was actually a radio program that changed my life, which was there's
Mm.
a radio station in Newark called 88.3 WBGO, and there
Mm-hmm.
was a DJ on there named Felix Hernandez, and he was playing this Jimi Hendrix Band of Gypsies track that I had never heard in my life
Mm.
because it was a rare unreleased track, right? But I knew exactly what it was. So I'm driving home from this thing so miserable, and this unbelievable sound starts coming out of my radio. And I knew exactly what it was because I'm like, this is Jimi Hendrix. This is definitely the Band of Gypsies because I recognize the bass and I recognize the drum playing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's got to be
Mm-hmm.
from that band. And it was this song called Hear My Train A Comin', long, like 9 minute, with mainly a guitar solo. And
Wow.
I just was driving. I got home. I just sat in the car and listened to the whole rest of the song. And I was just like, this is what I have to do. This is
Mm.
I need to play music. This medicine thing, they don't need me, but
Mm-hmm.
music, I need to do it. And so
Mm.
that was the night that kind of made the decision as far as right, doing science, you know,
Mm-hmm.
medicine or
Mm-hmm.
doing music. Now, the question you asked more specifically, covers versus originals, similar kind of thing, but not such a dramatic
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
conflict between the two things, you know, because they're close.
Mm-hmm.
I had a funk band for years. We did a lot of funk music, like original funk, and we did Sly Stone stuff, P Funk stuff. Great band, a lot of fun. For 15 years, I played in a Talking Heads tribute band
Mm-hmm.
called Start Making Sense. I still play with them. I have a bunch of gigs booked next month with them. But
Okay.
15 years we were doing it, right? And if you play the same songs for 15 years, and we tour a lot. The band plays like 150 gigs a year, so it's a
Wow.
lot of touring. And
Mm.
you know, so after a while, it's like I don't, you know, I wasn't feeling it so much, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I started playing I started up a Grateful Dead tribute band because the Grateful Dead is, I love that stuff from when I was a little kid. That was Jerry Garcia was the reason I started playing guitar, 100%,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So when I was like, you know, 13 or whatever, I saw the Dead when I was 12, you know, and I was just like, I want to do that. So I've been doing the Dead thing. And then once the COVID thing hit, and then I started getting the original material together, you know, and then I was like, you know, I was working on both at the same time. There wasn't really a conflict between them. The Dead band is still very active. It's called Life After Dead. That's the name of the band. And we play all the time. We just played a huge gig for like a couple thousand people last week
Wow.
in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, which is where I live. And so that band is great. we actually, during this huge festival, we played one of my songs during our set, which was cool.
Okay.
There's a song on the record that's called Postcard
Hmm.
that I wrote actually in 1995, right after Jerry Garcia died,
Oh,
because
wow.
it was a thing, right? I
Right.
was
Yeah. I know
very
you're a fan. Yes.
emotionally, like
Hmm.
involved
Hmm.
in this guy, and I literally saw the last Grateful Dead concert in Chicago, right? So I'm still into them, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
then Jerry died. I wrote this song, and so it's tangentially related to the Grateful Dead, right? Because
Hmm. Hmm.
the parts of the song, it's a little bit like this Dead song or a little bit like this Dead song, but it's my song. So anyway, we played this Dead, my Grateful Dead cover band, The Life After Dead. We did this original tune that's on my new album, which is just a great kind of circular thing because it was,
Hmm.
yes, we're doing Grateful Dead, but it's not exclusive, and I could do one of my songs, and that's okay, and the crowd really liked it, and then I plugged the album at the gig, and I said, I have this album coming out next month, and you can buy it from Amazon, you can buy it on Target, and my name's Jon Fadem. The album's called Thankful. Please look it up. It's also going to be on Spotify if that's what you want to do. And this song is called Postcard. We played the song, and then afterwards, I'm sure a bunch of people went on and checked the song out because the single's out already of that.
Okay. Okay.
So I guess my answer to the long answer, but the summary is original music and cover music doesn't have to necessarily be, exclusively one or the other. You can combine them.
Hmm.
They're
Okay.
not,
Okay.
and that was a kind of a unique situation, but I've been able to find a way to do it. And so I still play in the Talking Heads band. I still play in the Grateful Dead band. And I
Hmm.
also have my own music, and I have this brand new album that's going to be coming out. So
I
you can
like.
do it. You can do it all.
Yeah. Yeah. I like your approach on the answer there because I agree with that as well. Um, but I think part of why I asked you that too is that I've worked with artists over the years where I produced a record, for them. They'll have like a launch event, and then I go to the launch event. And it happened mostly more in the religious circle. So they'll do a whole album, 8, 10 songs, and they'll probably do one at the launch event, and then the other 90% they're doing covers from other artists, and you're like, aren't you promoting your record tonight? Why are you doing all of these? You're like, well, the people don't know these other songs, and da 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 da. I'm like, but
Sure.
you're dropping a record. Tonight is your night.
Yeah, that's right.
Why
That's
are you
right.
singing Donnie McKirkland and Yolanda Adams and all these other people? We love them too, but you know, you got to carve your space out. So it was just something that happens. But I like the fact that you're comfortable gelling like both worlds and using it to your advantage.
I think the phrase I was reaching for was they're not mutually exclusive, right?
Right, right.
You can do one and you can do the other. Now, I
Hmm.
also do a lot of solo shows where I use a looper pedal, which
Hmm.
lets you kind of lets me
Loop.
play.
You can loop
Yeah, I'll play a
sections.
rhythm guitar part, and then I'll loop it, and then that keeps going, and then I can solo over it for as long as I want to, right? Because it's my
Mm.
gig, and I
Yeah.
can also play whatever I want to. So I do those shows. I do solo shows all the time, like a couple of
Mm.
months, and those are really nice because I can do whatever I want. Like lately, I've been doing a lot of my original tunes because I got this record coming out. So I'm like, okay, let's bust out this song. Let's bust this song. Let's bust,
Hmm.
So I've been
Hmm.
doing like there's about six or so from the album that I do regularly at my solo shows. In addition to the cover songs
Hmm.
that I
Hmm.
like to do, and I don't do stuff I don't like to do, but
Okay.
but I'll do a Stevie Wonder song. I'll do a whatever Grateful Dead song. That's okay. Here's one of my songs. Then I'll do a Bill Withers tune. Then I'll do a Jeff Beck song. Then I'll do
Hmm.
another one of
Hmm.
my songs or whatever. So it lets
So
me the
it's
solo thing really lets me mix up however I want to, which is nice.
okay. Okay. It seems like you're in between the release of the record. Is it more like a waterfall type of release
Well,
that you're doing?
the label wanted a few singles before the album came out,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it was very specifically. schedule, like one a
Okay.
month,
Okay.
one single a month for when we started. And it was so July, so it was June, July, August, and the record's coming out on September 5th with
Mm.
the fourth single. So there's three singles. Two of them are already out. There's one called Thankful, was the first
Mm-hmm.
one, and then there's one called Postcard, was the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's one called Sunshine that's coming out in like 2 weeks. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be on the August 22nd, I believe. And then the album's coming out on September 5th, and that's when the fourth single is going to come out, and the full album as well.
Okay. Okay. So it's somewhat of a waterfall
Somewhat,
release.
and I
Yeah.
trust the guys at the label. They really know the business
Oh
really
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
you gotta find that gel between the people doing the marketing and the label stuff, and then you're the artist. You're like, hey, what's next?
and also the thing is, I think now, attention spans are generally much shorter.
Hmm.
When we were
Hmm.
kids, we would listen to a whole album all the way through, but
Yeah,
but now people rarely do that, right? They just listen to a song. They don't like the first 40 seconds. They're done, and that's
yeah.
it.
They don't know what they're
So,
missing.
right, I know. Just sitting to a whole record and turning the record over and playing the whole other side, right?
Man,
That's the way it should be.
when you can digest the whole record, you're looking at the cover, especially if it's a vinyl. You're looking at the vinyl, and reading the lyrics, you're looking at
Yeah,
the
yeah,
musicians. It's a whole experience. They don't know
absolutely.
what they're missing. The whole singles thing. Oh, I just like this one song, and I guess, hey, all right, cool.
Yeah,
but,
it's
but
just different. It's
yeah,
different. That's all.
yeah, yeah. So what's in the future for John in terms of this particular record? Do you have like a tour lined up? Are there music videos coming? What's
So,
coming up
yeah,
for the record?
thank you for asking.
Hmm.
There's one video that is out right now, which is called "Thankful," which is the title track. So if you just go to
Hmm.
YouTube and you put in Jon Fadem "Thankful," there it is. I'm
Hmm.
very happy to say that just yesterday I got the news that Vivo, which is basically the company Vivo that
Hmm.
does a lot with YouTube, and they just added it to their one of their playlists. It's called Relaxing Jazz, which is
Okay,
cool,
all right, we got
and
to clap that
it
up.
fits. Yeah, yeah, it's great. So I just got the news yesterday that they added it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, yes.
So yes, there's one video out, and it's that song, and I love the way that it came out, and I tried to have it be like I told you about when I wrote the song, right, which was my dad and family and stuff like that.
Yes, yes,
So that's what
yes.
we made the video about. I worked closely with the director, and she took some footage of me playing, but then she also had some great other kind of access to whatever she wanted, like stock type of footage. And
Hmm.
I said, let's put in families, let's put in love, let's put in a
Mm.
dad riding his son riding on his shoulders, but it's just from the
Mm.
back, so it's a little more abstract,
Yes,
or
yes,
like
yes, yes.
a dad and a son holding hands, and you just see the hands, or
Mm.
one somebody's doing this, but you just see the hands, so it's
Yes, yes, yes.
um but I'm just going to tell you, since we're talking, I did put in a picture of my son in the video because we had, like, when he was really little, we did some modeling. He did a little bit of modeling,
Uh-huh,
and so it
uh-huh.
was a real, like, professional looking picture. So I was like, that we got all these professional shots, but all, like, these other people, and the other kids and whatever. I was like, can we just put one of Miles in there? And she was like, yeah, sure, let's do it,
Hmm.
and it
Hmm.
works. So, like, almost near the very end of the video, like, there's my son is on there for a second
Okay,
with the big
okay.
smile, and it makes me smile when I see it. So, it's part of the theme, right, of the song. So,
I love this, man. This interview is going great. I love this. This is cool. Really, really,
thank you,
really
man.
cool. Really cool.
Thank you so much.
So when I have a guest, I like to personalize them a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So we got to find out some things about you. I'm not going to ask you about that thing you did last week. You said that's going to stay. That's going to stay out of it. In fact, I don't even know what you did last week. All right. So, what is your favorite color?
Blue, easy.
Oh my God, you didn't even think about it. You just
No, no, blue.
uh,
Always blue always.
All right, blue. Okay, why don't we work something out for you here? I should have
Oh,
probably
nice.
asked you at the
I like
beginning.
that. That looks good, man. Nice job.
Bring a little bit of blue into the conversation.
Dude, you did it live too. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, we got a little back office here. We could mess with a
Nice.
few things. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, all right. There's no second, no third. It's just blue.
Nice. Nice.
Uh,
No, that's it. Just blue.
that's
That's it.
just the blue. Okay. All right.
And interestingly, my favorite album of all time is a Miles Davis record that's called Kind
Blue.
of Blue.
Kind of blue.
Yeah,
Yes. But
that's right.
that's everyone loves that album, by the
Oh,
way.
it's so good. It's so good.
Everyone loves that record. In
Yeah.
fact, I
So,
might play it tonight.
oh man, you should. That record never gets old. I've heard it thousands of times. I still listen to it all
Yes.
the time.
It's one of those records. One of those
Yeah.
records.
Yeah.
All right. So, when Mr. Fadem is in the kitchen, what does he love to prepare?
Yeah. I'm really not much of a cook at all. My wife is a much better cook than I am. So
Okay.
I make most of the stuff. I'm a microwave expert. I am a king on the microwave. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
I could
Okay.
definitely microwave anything. What do I could make, spaghetti, with meat sauce. I can do that. It comes out okay. Um, but yeah, you don't want me in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't.
You don't
I
sound.
press the buttons on the microwave and defrost stuff. That's my skill in the kitchen there,
Oh,
bro. Not
okay,
much.
we won't traumatize you on the kitchen thing. We're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave that
It's
out.
just a fact. It's just a fact, man.
All right. So, I've been using this term. I don't even know if it's out of if it's like if it makes sense, but within the last week or two, who's been the artist in your MP3 player that you've been checking out?
In the last week or two.
Yeah.
It's got to be Miles Davis, man. I'm sorry. I don't mean to beat the horse, but like literally,
Ah,
I still listen to him all the time.
yes, yes.
Maybe in addition to Miles Davis, if I had to say some others,
Mm-hmm.
Herbie Hancock. I listened to a lot of Herbie Hancock recently. And
Mm.
I like all of his stuff. I like the straight ahead acoustic stuff. I love the funk
Mm-hmm.
stuff he did in the 70s, even
Okay.
now. And a band called Roxy Music. I listen to them a lot. They're like a British kind of
Okay.
progressive kind of band from the 70s. I listen to them a
Mm.
lot. Those are
Okay.
probably
Okay.
the three, and maybe Joni Mitchell. I listen to a lot of Joni Mitchell too.
Okay.
Uh,
That's cool. That's cool. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that I didn't get to ask you about that you'd like the audience to be familiar with?
no, man, I think you did a great job. I can't really think of anything. We talked about, I'm trying to think of what the label would want me to say or what the publicist would want me to say. But I think we covered a lot of stuff. The website is
Okay.
right there. That's my website. That's on there, and that has like all my shows that are coming up on it. Most of
Mm-hmm.
them are in Pennsylvania, where I live.
Okay. Okay.
And then there's the videos page has my new video, Thankful. There's another video that's going to be coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
New
Mm-hmm.
singles coming out in a few weeks. The album's coming out September 5th on Flatiron Recordings and Label 51, which are basically two affiliated labels.
Okay. Okay.
They have been amazing. It's coming out on vinyl and CD,
Mm.
as well as on digital, but the vinyl and the CD you can get on Amazon. You can get it at Target.com. You can also get it from the Label 51 Recordings
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
website. Um,
Okay. Okay.
the actual, the label has their own website and they have a store on there. You can get the CD and the vinyl through that. It's also going to be on Spotify and stuff, but I prefer people to get the actual
Yeah, yeah.
physical
I'm
product.
into the merch and the bundles and so on. So if you guys do some bundles and maybe a T-shirt or something, yeah, that's
I
gonna
mean,
be.
I still buy CDs all the time, like all the time. My wife is like, "Why is there always packages arriving at our house?" Because it's just CDs. It's all I spend my money on. I just get this comes out, I got to get it. I got to get this thing, you know. And I think there's a new Frank Zappa box set that's actually at my house that I have
Oh
to go
my
get when
God.
I get there, you know. So it's that kind of thing, you know. It's you know, I love the physical product, and I
Mm,
like having a thing, right? Having a thing that you can look at and read the notes. You can press pause, you can, you know, whatever. Um,
mm.
anyway, so that I think those are the basics. There's
Okay.
yeah, I think that's all the stuff. This album's coming out September 5th. It's called Thankful, and it's going to be on all those things. And I just really hope that people like it. You know, I tried to make a record that people would want to listen to, and
Yeah.
you know, I
Yeah.
tried not to. I purposely didn't make it complicated. You know, I could play fast, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to have a record with a lot of notes on it. I wanted it to be a record that people would want to put on and listen to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they could either sit and listen to it carefully, or they could have it on in the background and it just become part of their lives, you know.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
but that it would resonate with people, you know, and because it's very personal, right? I mean, it's all these songs from throughout my life about, you know, this is a song I wrote for my wife when we started dating, you know, 15 years
Oh,
ago.
oh
It's a
wow.
song about my son when he was born. There's a song from, you know, there's a lot of life events kind of in these
Mm,
compositions, and they mean a lot to me. So I put everything of myself into
okay.
this record, you know, and so I hope people like it. That's it, you know.
Okay. Okay. You know, I want to be a little bit nosy because I
Sure.
remember you saying uh, you were battling between, well, pursuing medicine and the music,
Yeah.
And the
Uh,
reason why I can relate is because I too was in the medical field initially. I was studying medical lab
okay.
at one point. So what made you even start pursuing the medical career at one point? What was influential there? I'm just curious.
That's a great question, and I think well. So my mom is a scientist, and my mom's a biologist,
Oh, okay.
and so I think you know, and she always was able to provide for me and my brother and sister when we were you know growing up
Mm,
and stuff because of that, right? She taught, and then she was doing research in biology.
mm,
So I think I knew that if you kind of did that, you know, and she worked at a medical school, so I knew that that was like a good thing to do, you know, and I
mm,
think that,
mm,
you know, um, I also was genuinely interested in psychiatry and in the brain and in what makes the
mm-hmm,
brain work.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
so even though I was going to medical school, it was basically so that I could do psychiatry instead of psychology.
mm-hmm,
Because
mm-hmm.
psychiatry, you know, you have the MD and you
Yeah,
make more
yeah.
money and you have more freedom and whatever. So that was the original idea, was that I was interested in how the brain worked, and then that made me want to go to medical school because I wanted to do psychiatry, but I didn't want to do all the other medical stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so like psychiatry, the class I did great. I got like an A, you know, because I was really into it. The rest of the stuff I was like, I don't care, you know.
You were dying.
And yeah, and then interestingly, so like what happened was I left. I told you the story how I left medical school
Yeah, yeah.
and did music. Right, I did
Mm-hmm,
music for a bunch of years, and then when I hit 30, I was like, man, I want to have a family, and this is
mm-hmm,
not. And for me, I thought at that time, this is not the kind of life that would support that you could support a family with. You know, a
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
musician is very you know up in the air. There's a
Yes,
lot
yes.
of
We,
chance.
yeah, yeah. That's right.
So
That's right.
I did, I took the GREs, which is the graduate exams,
Mm-hmm,
and I went to grad school. I started going to grad school for neuroscience. I was in a PhD program
mm,
for neuroscience at a school called Lehigh University in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And the reason I went there was mainly because they gave me a great offer. Okay,
mm-hmm.
and they said, you know, hey, we'll pay you this much, and you have to teach, but you'll come and we'll pay your tuition, and we'll pay you a salary, and come here and do this. And I was like, great. And so I was just doing neuroscience and brain research, and literally doing brain surgery on little animals and doing all kinds of research,
Mm-hmm,
as well
mm-hmm.
as doing courses. And I passed all my courses, about 3 4 years, and I was not doing music at all. Then one of my professors at graduate school was like, oh, you know, they have this open mic at this little cafe in downtown Bethlehem. You should check it out, because she knew that I had done music previously, right? So I was like this all in grad school. I was just all about studying neuroscience and the brain anatomy, brain physiology. Then I started going to this open mic, and that was it.
Oh
That
my
was it. I was
God.
done. I started playing guitar again. Right. I met some really good musicians all in
Uh,
town. And the Lehigh Valley, where I live in Bethlehem, there's this really great music scene with all these venues to play and all these great
mhm.
musicians. And I had no idea, right? I was living there, but I was blind to that. And just my head in the books, you know. So then I started playing again. That was it. And then I said, look, I got to stop the grad school thing. You know, I got to do music. And that was it. And I made that decision again, right? Same thing. I was just like,
Wow.
and then
Wow.
it was only after that that I met my wife while I was playing in the band. She was a fan of the band that I was playing in. I had this
Uh,
funk band called Post Junction. She was a fan of the band. She lived right around the corner from where we used to play all the time. That's how I met my wife. So if it wasn't for music, I would not have the life that I have now. You know what I mean?
wow.
So that's
Wow.
the answer to your question, actually. It's a long
Amazing.
answer.
I didn't know.
Thanks.
Yo, this is amazing.
It's funny. It's a funny story, yeah. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm right now at a point, it's so many years of back and forth and working, and it's really it feels really good that now I finally have my own stuff, and and people are
Hmm.
responding really well to it, and it means a lot. It's great. It's one of the best parts of my life so far.
Well, John, this was amazing. I think we need to do this again. Hopefully, we can, after a couple of months, maybe you have some new things coming out. Shout out to Crossover Media for making this
That's right.
happen.
That's right.
And I look forward to great things from you.
Thank you so much, Sam. It was such a pleasure talking to you, man. It was a pleasure.
Yes, amazing,
Thank you so much
amazing.
for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes, you're welcome. You're
All
welcome.
right,
You're
man.
welcome.
You take care.
Will do.